What is up, my dashing dudes and darling dames? I am the Hans TV, and welcome back to the only subreddit that makes you terrified to get married. It's r/JustNoMIL. Our first post for today comes from Blush Rory. This 0 to 100 conversation my husband had has me rolling. So, I've been no contact with my mother-in-law since February or March. It's been great. My husband is deployed, so I've been stuck at home with my two gremlins for a while now, and my OS has his birthday coming up. Now, last year my husband was also gone, and I made the decision to drive 7 hours to my hometown to celebrate his birthday together with all of our extended family, and that turned into a royal crap show. It was hot, too many people showed up, and the highlight was my mother-in-law got into a yelling match with my mom because she kept trying to pick up my kids and they were terrified of her, because they honestly don't know who she is, and went running to my mom. Mother-in-law didn't like that and went at my mom blaming her for the reason the kids hate her. Weird considering the week before it was my fault, but whatever. Because of this, I refuse to do birthdays with her anymore. I never ever wanted a special day for my kids to be overshadowed by her crazy. She gets other days like New Year's when the kids will be sleeping to ruin. This year I will be home alone for his birthday, but I am planning on going quietly to visit just my family for the week or so, just so my kids can see other people since they've been stuck inside so much. Today I reminded my husband to let my mother-in-law know to warn us if she's sending presents because our mailman on multiple occasions has left our mail outside while forgetting to knock, and we've had a few things get wet. No big deal, but last thing I want is birthday presents getting ruined. So he texts her exactly that. Are you sending presents? Let us know because we don't want them to get wet. Very simple, easy question, right? Apparently not to her, because her reply was to spam my husband for the next 10 minutes with, "Why do you need to know that? Is Rory not there right now? You didn't reply fast enough. I bet she's home with her family. I know she isn't going to bring my grandbabies over. Wow, how mature of her. This is ridiculous." He finally had to shut her up by saying, "Wow, drama much? We just didn't want your boxes to get wet." Then proceeded to tell me under no circumstances is she to know I'm going home for a visit, because if she was this crazy at just the idea of it, he doesn't want to deal with what would actually happen if she found out. I'm currently in tears from laughing so hard. This woman is insane. I swear, if she would ever agree to be filmed for TV, she would make millions with this crap. Our next post for today is a bit of a hot topic, and it comes from Dark Queen 166. Mom gave me a cease and desist order. What do I do? So my mom gave me in person a cease and desist order. She has abused me for years along with my stepdad. I have evidence of her admitting to opening my mail, and I have written accounts of the abuse. I've posted on Facebook about my abuse and got this. Notice to cease and desist for defamation, CE to dear, my name. This letter has been issued to you because of continued incorrect information being talked about me on Facebook, along with continuous harassment of my family in a public forum, giving me no ability for myself. Activity. Failure to discontinue the aforementioned activity will result in legal action being taken against you if the above activity continues. We will be forced to petition the Wapaka County Court to issue a temporary restraining order against you and the accomplices involved in the above activity. We will also be obliged to sue for monetary damages that will be proved during legal proceedings. Hopefully there will be no need for this type of recourse, but if we have to protect our interests, we're prepared to do so in a court of law. This is the first and last warning letter. If you fail to confirm or respond to our letter in writing by August 2nd, 2020, that you will discontinue the specified alleged activity, then we will have no choice but to file a lawsuit against you immediately. If this letter or any mention ends up on Facebook, there will be grounds for immediate petition to the court. It looks funny because you can't post pictures here, so I used an image to text translator and filled in the spots. Already posted this on legal advice, but I'm not getting any advice on that subreddit. What do I do? I don't know about this subject to actually formally talk on it, but Desert Dame in the comments does. In my business, we have written C&D letters to various offenders. So before you talk to a lawyer, a C&D letter that threatens a RO is a criminal matter with legal consequences, i.e. jail. A C&D letter that threatens monetary consequences is a civil matter. You can't commingle the two. So they're full of crap right there. They can't threaten you with court or lawyer's fees. That's called extortion. Little known fact, unless they go through with it, again, defamation lawsuits can be a real thing. Do they have money? Anyone can file anything. Personally, I'd wipe my butt with this letter, but I'm experienced in business and you're not. I'm an older mom, so I'm going to give you the same advice I gave my daughter involved in some serious family crap. Don't put your business on the street. Just don't. Don't air family crap on social media. Just don't. It's a no-win situation for you. Cry to your friends. Never ever cry or complain on social media about family. It never ends well. OP, if you have evidence, can't you just push that evidence forward to say that it's not defamation, it's actually true? I'm not a lawyer and I don't know a lot about the law, but that does seem like it could work, but I don't know. Somebody in the comments who knows, let me know. Our final post for today comes from Would I Be the Actual Mill Divorce? My ex-mother-in-law doesn't know one of her 2 grandkids exists. I hold all the power and I don't know what to do. Full disclosure, I have posts elsewhere, but 2 separate people suggested I should post here instead if I wanted advice. And I didn't even know this sub existed, but it seems perfect for the situation. So, hi. This last year, I split with my ex after 7 years together. Long story short, ex was a good stepdad to DD, age 11, but was unsure about having biological kids. After getting married, he told me he was sure he wanted them. Then after we had DS, my ex changed his mind about biological kids. We agreed to divorce a year ago, only to find out I was 3 months pregnant. I gave birth to LO in January of this year. My ex gave me full custody of DS and LO, and has told me that I can give them his contact info when they're both teenagers or older, provided they ask me to meet him, and I ask ex for his permission, which is absurd in my opinion, but it's better than nothing. From day one, my mother-in-law didn't like me. She felt that I came with too much baggage, aka my dearest daughter. When I got pregnant with DS, mother-in-law was sugary sweet while she began attempting to steamroll me, and I put my foot down. Mother-in-law then began undermining me as a wife or mother. After one particularly nasty argument where mother-in-law called me a bad mother, my ex finally sided with me and my mother-in-law apologized, saying she'd said that out of fear for DS because her first grandchild, ex's niece, had passed away in an accident in 2015. My ex said mother-in-law would start therapy after that, but that was a couple of years ago and I never got a follow-up. So I don't know if she actually began therapy or stuck with it. And while the comments went down by about 90%, the last time I saw Mill, she was still undermining me. The situation with LO is that I haven't seen Mill in person since April of 2019, at which point I was probably only a couple weeks pregnant with LO. Then the divorce happened, so I didn't see Mill at all. My ex took DS to see Mill in October 19, and I was around for 6 or 7 months along that point. I gave birth to LO in January of 2020. My ex came by long enough to sign the certificate and give me full custody, then he left again. I wanted time to recover from the birth before having people over, and then lockdown happened. This whole time Mill hasn't called me, but she has called ex, who has then texted me saying, "Call Mill," which happens once about every 3 to 4 weeks. Yesterday, my ex confirmed he never told Mill about LO, and I haven't heard her either. Ex has said that he didn't tell her because as he stepped down, I am now the sole responsible parent, and it would be on me to facilitate a relationship between ex's family and my kids until the kids are old enough to do it themselves. Ex has said he won't tell Mill himself because he doesn't want her to know about LO existing, only for me to not allow contact, but he feels Mill should know, and that LO and DS should be in contact with their biological grandmother until the kids themselves decide otherwise. DD, my oldest, doesn't really like Mill because she has both her biological grandmothers, though her father's mother has her own issues, and Mill has never really made time for DD. Meanwhile, DS sometimes drags his feet when it comes along to seeing Mill, but on the whole, he loves her and does enjoy seeing her. I feel like if I cut Mill out, then I'm depriving DS and LO of knowing their grandmother. However, if I tell Mill about the kids, then I have to facilitate a relationship with them. And while Mill isn't eligible for grandparents' rights at this point, if I were to organize regular meetings and then cut her out later, I could open myself up to Mill seeking visitation. There's also the matter of the ex. Ex has decided he doesn't want to be a dad anymore. A bit late to decide that in my opinion, but I can't force him to be a parent. Seeing as their father has bailed on them, part of me feels like I should be making an effort to keep their other relationships, including the one with Mill, intact, rather than let them think that Mill has bailed on them too. However, with the absence of their father, I also feel that Mill's presence could confuse them further and may lead to complications as there would be no clean break from X. Then again, if they do reconnect with X as teens and he tells them that Mill didn't even know Ella existed, I could very easily look like the bad guy. The legal situation is that, as of right now, she has no rights, And going forward, it takes a very specific set of circumstances to get grandparent rights, and it's easily avoidable. So I could feasibly enable a relationship without risking grandparents' rights. What should I do? Any advice? I'm going back to the comments for this one, because I am pissed off beyond compare, and Gerbil111 says some really good stuff. He may have shrugged all his responsibility, but don't let him become a martyr. It's not your mother. If he wants her to know he abandoned his kids, he has to do it. Don't let yourself be the one who took his kids away. Similarly with the kids, they need to know he left and it is his fault and nobody else's. There will be no valiant saint who will come back and sweep them away. He was a bad father who didn't want his kids and doesn't want to talk to them. End of story. I can't imagine what kind of grandmother relationship would be there. Is she going to give him a periodic updates and tell them a fantasy story about why he isn't showing his face? So when you and your husband got married, he wanted kids. Then you had kids and he didn't want them anymore, so he disowned them? What kind of man is that? And it's his responsibility, not yours, to tell the grandparents. Because they're not your parents. Like they said, they're not your parents. They're his. They're his responsibility. If he doesn't want to take responsibility for his children, then he doesn't deserve to have a relationship with them at all. Well, alright my dashing dudes and darling dames. That is going to do it for today's episode of r/JustNoMIL. I hope you liked the stories, and if you did, I'm going to link them in the description as always. And if you liked the video, subscribe, share, drop a like, and a comment down below with what you'd like to see me read next. A humongous thank you to everyone who is commenting and liking the videos and keeps on subscribing. I cannot thank y'all enough for what y'all are doing for the channel and what y'all are doing for this community. I cannot wait to see where this community goes. But with that being said, I will see you in the next video.